Hi YouTube, this is my Sunkko 709AD spot welder I bought about a week ago. I was very excited to get this device after seeing numerous reviews on both the Facebook group and the forum just about how well it works, especially in comparison to some of the other units that are available. I am very disappointed in this unit, and I have to thank Peter for fielding my numerous questions over the past couple of days and then even making a video showing how he uses his spot welder. So I wanted to show some examples of how I'm using mine, problems I'm facing, and see if anybody has a little input because at this point I'm ready to return this device and buy a different version. This is the 110 volt version made for the United States. I'm told that there's numerous known problems with the 110 volt version, and had I known that to begin with, I probably would have bought the 220. So if the conclusion from this is that the problems I'm having are because this is the 110 volt version, I will be returning it and purchasing the 220. So I'll start out with the first nickel strip here. This is from the pack that is 15 hundredths of a millimeter thickness. You'll see these terminals are fairly clean. There's a few studs left there from previous spot welds, but they are perfectly smooth. They're hammered down and they're flat. First of all, you'll see it is turned up on the max setting, so I have an 18 pulse and the current is turned all the way to the right. So I'll put the nickel strip down, firm force on the pen, press the pedal, comes right off. It doesn't even try to stick to it. You can do it 2 and 3 times on the same cell. There's twice, comes right back off. There's no force required whatsoever to pull that off. I did contact the seller I bought this from on eBay, and he states that you need to hold this welding pen at a 45-degree angle. So I did try that, and that gave slightly better results, but it's still not perfect. So we'll do a 45-degree angle there. Well, it didn't work as good as it was the first time I tried it. Let's try a different cell since I did that one a couple times already. 45-degree angle. And you'll see it's indented a little bit, but still pulls right back off. There is a couple marks on the cell, but it didn't really weld to the cell like it's supposed to. So then I thought, okay, maybe I'm not getting the amount of current through here because it is the 110 volt version. And I know in a previous video that Peter did with Bruno, he put his clamp meter on, and you're able to see the inrush current was approximately, was it 620 or 630 amps, I believe. So I tried the same thing. Turn the meter on, push the select button, and you'll see it says inrush down here. I'll just clamp it on one of these leads. Put the nickel strip back. 45-degree angle. You'll see I'm getting 486 amps. When I did this test the other day, I was hitting 500, so I'm going to do it once more and just see what I can get out of it. Just turn the whole way up. All 3 switches are on for an 18 pulse. And you'll see 489 amps. Now, I did open up this unit. I did put the clamp meter on the coil, on the transformer winding that goes to these 2 terminals in the front here, and I was hitting 600 amps on those, and those 2 terminals actually do work pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this, and I'm going to try to spot weld to this last cell here that I haven't touched yet using the terminals in the front, and this actually works, so I'm going to turn this down to a pulse of 8. Oops. Got to make sure it's nice and flat. It up. And you'll see it burnt a little bit, and I can't pull that off. I have to get a pair of long nose pliers and pull that pretty hard to get that off. It actually melted a hole in the nickel when I pulled it off. So this piece does work here. That's perfect. The problem is that I can't do a 15 by 20 battery pack up here because I'm going to be holding a 32-pound battery pack and it's not going to fit in there. So the whole reason I wanted this was for this spot welding pen. Now, if I use this spot welding pen, let's see. This is the other sample pack it came with. You'll see this is 1/10 of a millimeter in thickness, 45-degree angle. I'm still on 8 pulse with max current. And that's on there tight. I can't pull that off at all. And that's only on 8 pulse. And that's with 1 weld. So if I'll do 2 on this one. Okay, the first one pulled off with a little bit of force, but the second one is still on there pretty good. And again, it did rip a little hole in the nickel when I pulled it off. So, I'm not sure if the problem at this point is that the spot welder can't provide the same amount of instantaneous current that the 220 volt one can, or there's a problem wrong with this pen. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just buy another pen and you know, see if that's the problem. Maybe that'll work. It's $60-something to replace just this pen, and that's the cheapest pen I can find. So I took this apart. I checked all the wiring that was in the unit. These plugs are fine. They're very, very tight. They're actually hard to put in. I took this pen itself apart here. I tightened. There's two Allen head screws, hex screws that go in that hold these cables into these terminals. I pull both those cables off, double wrap them, and then double tighten them so they're down nice and tight. I also replaced these 2 tips. So the spot welder came with a few extra tips. You can kind of see one of them right there. So what you do is you just take your long nose and you twist this a little bit. The tip comes out and you put the new tip in. The new tips didn't help at all. So at this point, I don't think it's an intermittent issue or connectivity issue with the handheld tool. I just think this is not providing enough instantaneous current because of the 110 volts to use this pen. Now in the video Peter showed, he was able to solder the 1/1500ths of a millimeter nickel strip, not even on the max settings. He was on what, 8 or 8 and 6 or something like that. So again, I would just like your feedback on what you think the problem is. If you think it's a matter of, none of them even held. If you think it's a matter of the 110 volt version, or you think this tool is bad, I do have about 25 more days to return this on eBay if I need to, for a full refund. If I don't hear anything back in the next week or two, again, I'm going to return it and I'm going to try ordering the 220 volt version. So as one more test, I wanted to take the 0.15, the 1/1500ths of a millimeter again. I'm used to using my right hand because I'm right-handed, but you can't see in the video, so I got to kind of hold my left hand. So again, it's on max setting, it's on max pulse and max current. I'll hit it twice. Let's see, it's indented a little bit, but it's not even attached. It came right off in my hand. I didn't even pull on it. So I thought, okay, maybe it was the cells I'm using, because I'm using these pink. These are Samsung, there it is, ICR 26A through F, whatever variants I have of them. They're the 26 pink ones. So I tried some LGs. This is my bag of test cells. You can see how many times I tried to spot weld them. I've had no luck whatsoever. The only thing I can get to work with this pen is the 10th of a millimeter, and that is too small for my project, and that is not the reason why I bought this tool. So once again, if you could please leave your feedback below. Let me know if there's something I should try, or you think there's something I'm missing, if you think I should buy a new pen. One of the admins of Jehu's group was also having a similar problem coincidentally at the same time I was. The only difference is that he had the 709AD Plus and mine's just the 709. Anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you for listening to me ramble. One quick thing I just thought of is that it was mentioned by a couple other members that this needs to be on a dedicated circuit by itself. And you'll see on the back it's rated for 15 amps. I do have this device on a 20 amp dedicated breaker with nothing else connected to the circuit.